Hey yo, what's up buddy? It's Zane JJ. Today we're coming back a video basically talking about some investment stuff. If let's say should you invest in Bitcoin and what kind of investment should you make in your life itself, I would say this video itself is gonna be quite helpful and useful for those who are looking to invest their funds. And of course this channel is more on pro crypto. Therefore I would say that this video itself is also relevant for those who are not into crypto or whatsoever. It's basically talking about like fundamentals of investing, and after that some stuff that you should maybe know before you invest. And of course this is not a financial advice video. I'm just a random YouTuber from Singapore doing some content about cryptocurrency, and of course I would love to help the community with passive income. And of course that's my goal itself, passive income, because we are always like trading our time for money, and of course why not let our money make some money for us, and of course while we are sleeping. And of course we can see that over here the last video I've done talking about how to trade crypto in Singapore 2025, it was around 64 days ago, 2 months ago. And of course if let's say you bought Bitcoin back then itself, you have already like profited. And of course whoever bought Bitcoin at the all-time high previously 109k has already made their money basically 2000, and everyone is in the green zone right now because Bitcoin has once again broke the all-time high. So I'll say this is not a financial advice video, but of course it's just a fundamental type of realization slash, I would say maybe one or some of you guys might want to say like some kind of guru talk or whatever, but I'm not a guru, but it's just basically for me to share my own personal investment journey experience to you guys. So over here we're going to start off with number one. What is basically your goals in this investment space itself? Before we start onto that, please smash the thumbs up, subscribe to my channel, and of course turn on post notification. So right now we're going to jump into this segment. So over here, like how can you set your goals itself for investment? So for my investment goal itself is to basically like retire early, and that is the far-fetched kind of goals itself. Like they have lots of like goal setting type of thing, you can Google it, but of course you have to ask yourself that what is actually your goals itself for short term. Let's say you're gonna buy some stocks, or let's say buy some Bitcoin, or let's say buy whatever kind of investment strategy, investment instrument out there. You must ask yourself what are you buying it for? And of course, is it like buying it for maybe say like my house is coming in like 5 years, my BTO is coming, and I'm gonna basically try to achieve this amount of money to basically pay for the down payment slash the renovation, stuff like this. These are somehow the short-term goals itself. So you have to ask yourself like what you want to achieve from this investment itself. And of course you have to understand how does this investment work. If let's say you do not understand a single thing about, let's say, REITs, or maybe say the CDP or whatever kind of stocks out there that you want to buy, and of course you're looking at cryptocurrency, you do not know what is it. It's just people on the internet telling you that, hey, you should buy this, you should buy that. Honestly, I would say that if you do not understand anything that you're buying into, please do not buy them. And of course just stick with like saving monies in, let's say, whatever you understand, bonds or whatsoever, until you finally understand something much more higher risk slash advanced like Bitcoin itself. We all know that it's very volatile, stuff like that, but volatility equals high risk. That's what many people say, but unfortunately, yes, it is true for some of you guys, but of course for me itself, the high risk itself have a very high reward, and I've been Bitcoin since 2017, and it has benefited me fairly well. So I would say that I'm more pro crypto, but of course I've tried to move my funds into like buying REITs and of course those traditional stock kind of instrument. It doesn't really work out for me, because when I want to purchase it itself, I look at the high fees and of course the high like management fees that all of the platform out there is charging, and I feel that the returns itself is not as attractive as Bitcoin, or I would say the crypto space itself. Therefore I have not like touched the instrument itself. Maybe when I get older, and of course maybe I get more money itself, and I want to basically secure my wealth for retirement, then I will do that. So my goal itself for crypto itself is to basically accumulate as much as I can, and of course hopefully I can reach the $1 million mark in cryptocurrency. Then I will diversify into like stocks and everything to basically stabilize and of course plan my financial generational wealth, whatever this is that you want to call it. So over here I would say that the next part that you need to ask yourself is, how does money work? So over here itself, like many of us who are living in our day-to-day life basis itself, we do not really actually understand how does money work, because the school itself does not really teach you how does money work, and your parents itself does not really tell you like how money work. Basically they tell you that, oh, I give you $10 today, you only can spend $10, and of course you want to buy whatever it is, you want to save up. All this kind of like saving kind of mechanism, it is fine to learn. It is a very useful need itself, but actually deep down, do you know like how does the economy work itself? So for my understanding in this economy itself, it is basically you can Google it and it's going to tell you money serve and media exchange, blah 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 blah. And of course I would say that this is all knowledge that is on the internet that you can Google it yourself. But for me itself, how I came across this, like how does money work itself, is was basically when I was like searching online, how do I like make money online, and I came across Bitcoin. And after that, I came across that Rich Dad Poor Dad. Then eventually I became when Rich Dad Poor Dad itself is writing the book, I go and read on to the book, and of course understand that you have to really know how does money work itself. It's like Monopoly. So here we know that this is Monopoly that everybody plays before as a childhood board game. Basically, you can see that we start over here and we can just keep going across and across, circle and circle. It's basically like this board itself is like months of the year itself. Basically, every time you cross the go button, you get your salary, $200, $2,000. Just in a nutshell itself, just think about it. Can you really live off with this $4,000 or even say $5,000 and expect to be really rich and of course live life comfortably? Yes, of course you might basically save up and after they eventually move to a slightly affordable country, and after that from there leave your retirement plan. That's a very smart move, I would say. And of course some of you guys are thinking that, okay, I want to live like my life instead of like drinking coffee at home, I would like to maybe splurge a little bit outside and of course not worry about that $1.20 I'm gonna pay or $1.90 I'm gonna pay. So you have to really understand that how does money really work itself. It's the simple game of Monopoly that if you really want to become rich, you have to acquire assets to make money on top of your money itself. So we know that we only have 24 hours in a day, and of course 8 hours itself for you to sleep, and within these 8 hours itself there's always opportunity out there, but we need our rest. Therefore you have to find ways to basically generate money while you're sleeping. And of course I would say that how does money work itself, you have to understand that how does the central bank work, and of course the taxation, and it's very in-depth stuff like this. So over here I would say that taxation itself is basically the government printing the money, and after that from there using the money of the future to basically pay off goods and services, and of course for the public, the infrastructure and everything, to boost the countries like IQ with the educational system and everything. So this money have to be paid back, and of course who pay back is basically us, the worker, the workforce itself paying it, and of course through taxation and stuff like this, GST or whatsoever, to basically cover up the hole that basically they dug themselves into, the depth of hole. And after that from there you pay it back on behalf of a country, serving as a society. And of course this is how like money work, and of course it's deeper than that, of course, definitely, but don't need to be an economist or maybe like don't need to take a PhD to basically understand this. It's just a simple Google and a little bit of interest for you to really understand how money's work. And after that from there I would say this is super useful for you if let's say you really somehow 开放 like putting understand like how does money work itself. You will basically know that, okay, so whatever I'm doing, it is somehow wrong. Saving money is not going to make me rich. So you're going to have a different point of view of how money works. And of course you won't like look at the money as heavily as previously. And of course I would say that money is just a piece of paper that can exchange for some temporary happiness, and of course like those goods, material items itself to make you very happy. And of course I would say that you need money to do everything, to eat and everything, to survive. And of course you can look like to understand it, and after that from there you can change your own perspective for the positive side. So here we're gonna next talk about what should you invest in after you understand like what is your goal, and after that how does money work. And of course you are asking yourself, okay, so I know about what is money and what is my goal, so what should I invest in? So as already mentioned on the previous segment itself, talking about what should you invest in, honestly, you have to understand what you're investing in. So if let's say we talk about like the top one is Microsoft, we know that everybody is using Windows, and of course how they are making money. If let's say you're talking about companies, how do they make money, and after that how is this value like derived from all of their services, and of course the P&L, and of course there's a lot of financial stuff that you need to understand, like the PE ratio, the dividends, market cap, revenue, and all the net stuff that I believe that most of you guys do not have time to basically like understand like what should I like pick stock of a company instead, or let's just buy a REITs, or let's say buy a ETF itself. So the ETF itself is basically paying basically buying a bundle of companies that is inside, so you can go and research about what kind of investment instrument that is out there. Basically there is like if let's say you are looking for a higher risk, it's something like picking a stock, a cryptocurrency, that kind of stuff itself, buying Microsoft company, buying Nvidia, buying Apple, and after that buying Amazon. But these are all like blue chip stocks itself, which is basically at a top market cap itself, they are somehow the richest company in the world. So they are basically a blue chip stock. So they are very stable, somehow 稳定的. Then after that, from there, if you talk about crypto itself, you want to like buy a crypto blue chip itself, is Bitcoin, Ethereum, and of course, US Tether is not much like a crypto, but it's just a form of exchange to basically trade around on the crypto market, the crypto economy itself. And of course, I would say that if let's say you're looking for somehow like a low risk kind of investment, then I would say a low risk, yes, definitely there's low risk investment like bonds, the government issued bonds, or maybe say like a medium risk itself is like a company issued bonds. You have to find out which exchange is basically offering this type of services. And of course, I would say that somehow the medium risk itself is like buying the S&P 500, and of course buying like those index funds, basically have a bundle of all the companies that is inside. So here you have to really go and dive into like what you are looking for. If let's say you buy an ETF itself, there's like S&P 500, which compile of everything, which is very a no-brainer slash big gainer kind of stock that you can buy in. And of course, if let's say you are in the tech space, you know like how the tech works itself, you can buy an ETF of a technology like company slash fund itself. And of course, looking at, if let's say you know about the economy, you want to buy like those like nation that is rising from like manufacturing or whatsoever, like India, you can invest into their future of whatever that they're gonna grow, something like that. So you have to really know like what do you understand, and of course from there you dive into it. So for me, I'm more of a tech guy, a nerd. Therefore, crypto was one of the first investment that I have encountered in, and after from there understand how it works, and of course dug very deep, and of course know how does Ethereum work, and of course how does Bitcoin work. So for me itself, I would say that the next segment I'm going to talk about is basically, let's say you do not understand about Bitcoin or whatsoever, what can Bitcoin actually do for you? So this segment itself is kind of like a slash, I would say, what is that, a shilling type of thing. But I would say that honestly, Bitcoin did for me. What Bitcoin did for me itself was basically helping me with my financial life itself, my marriage, and of course all of my BTO renovation itself. All is thanks to Bitcoin, and of course my two little son that is being born in Singapore itself, basically going to the private hospital. Everything I would say is really thanks to Bitcoin. And of course, I would say the one thing that I want to thank a lot is basically myself for investing and understanding how it works, and of course the drive to basically find money to basically live a more a life that I wanted to, instead of just like dreaming, hopium. And of course from there I would say that if the first thing you really need to do is to basically take action into understanding something, and of course from there not afraid of taking risks. So I would say that this is one of the goals slash motto that I have. And of course, yes, of course, you have to go and understand before, and of course, you can understand it, and of course, you can be a paper guy, know about all the risks and everything. But honestly, if you have not known all of the risks and all of the path to take, and no action is done, you're gonna basically be stuck there. So I'll say, what can Bitcoin do for you itself? If let's say you understand about money itself, inflation, and of course like the government slash the higher up people spending your money in ways that you do not really think that it is gonna affect your life. And of course, you know, like Donald Trump doing like 125% tariff, 145% tariff here and there. And of course, some of the people in the US thinks that, oh, China is paying for it, but actually if you look at it, it is basically the consumer that is paying for it, because company pay for the tariff, and of course they are not gonna absorb those margin, and of course not gonna run a business in the deficit. Therefore, this is all of things that you understand. And of course, what can Bitcoin do for you is basically, I would say one of it is digital gold. Like people will say that rather buy like gold itself to hedge for the inflation, because it's something physical. And after that, this is like magic internet money. For Bitcoin itself is just running on the internet. And of course, what if the internet shut down one day and everything is gone? Yeah, this might happen, but the chances itself, we can look at the internet being shut down. If you think about it, if the internet can shut down itself, yes, it is possible, but honestly the chances of it happening is very low. And of course there is no incentive or slash financial incentive for anyone to do that. And of course we need the internet to run everything, therefore nobody is gonna F with it. And of course I would say for Bitcoin itself is the same concept. If let's say you want to basically be the 51% of holding power of mining itself, that's not going to happen, because there are miners out there who really know what they are getting in. And of course from there to run a mining farm to basically secure the Bitcoin network and stuff like that. So I would say Bitcoin itself is fairly secure. And of course I would say that the things that that is not so secure itself is basically talking about like security wise, which I'm going to talk about it later, talking about if let's say Bitcoin is for you or not. So what can Bitcoin do for you is basically to hedge with the inflation. And of course, if you are looking for another alternative slash a very young kind of product. If let's say you talk about Apple during its launch itself, nobody know what it is. And of course, people are being sketchy back then, like what is Apple, what is Nvidia, what is Microsoft, what is Amazon. And of course, I would say that all these company back then during the internet boom itself, nobody know what it is. Nobody know it was to become the top slash richest company in the world. And of course, nobody knows that Bitcoin is gonna reach 100,000. And of course, despite that, we know that Bitcoin was at 20,000 back then. And of course, it popped down over here. People say the market is crashing, Bitcoin is dying. And eventually, 2017 all the way, I have been there since. I have seen all of the highs and the lows. And after that, I would say that Bitcoin itself always stick thing, don't sell, just hold it. If let's say for my own financial philosophy slash investment philosophy is when I need money for like let's say a down payment or a big renovation kind of thing, or maybe I need a holiday to enjoy myself. Yes, if let's say I work and after that I do not wish to do not have enough money from my generating income slash the active income side, I use my investment to basically sell off a little bit to enjoy life a little. Because some of you guys might say, hey, it's stupid to use it for holiday. But honestly, if you can hoard all of the money in the world, tomorrow you might just die and you can't spend a single cent. So you have to know that in life, you still have to enjoy it. So I would say, is Bitcoin good for you itself? Or sorry, it's not good for you, or is Bitcoin for you itself? I would say, if let's say you're a guy that knows tech, and of course, if you know that the money system out there is somehow corrupted slash effed up already, hyperinflation, looking at some countries going through hyperinflation, and of course, from there, their $1 is like, I don't know, a few $billion of Zimbabwe dollar or something like that. So you know that the country is slowly heading there because of this future spending itself, because the Federal Reserve can basically print, technically you can say print or create more money out of thin air to basically fund the future, telling you that, oh, to use this money to help with the educational system, to use this to build like a memorable or kind of site or whatever. It all costs money, and of course to build like something that is totally useless, which does not even impact your life significantly. So if let's say you do not want this inflation to basically eat into your money itself, so how does it work? Is basically, if let's say you have $100 in the bank, you can store it for 10 years, 20 years down the road. You will realize that 10 years ago chicken rice was $2, eventually it ran up to $3, now it's $4, and if you add an egg, it's $4.80. So it's like everything is rising in price, and your $100 is still $100. And of course the buying power will get lower and lower. Eventually, let's say back then you can buy, 10 years ago you can buy 50 plates of chicken rice with $2. Now you only can buy maybe say 20 plates of it with $2. So this with this $4. So this is how it works itself, how inflation works. So if let's say it's Bitcoin is something interesting to you to hedge against inflation itself, feel free to buy. So I would say that right now it's all-time high. So I would say that I recommend people not to touch the all-time high. Wait for the market to cool down a little bit, then you find an entry point. So I would say that how to find the entry point here and there is much more in-depth topic, and I can't be a master to tell you when you enter and when you shall not enter. But of course, back then when I made the video talking about how do you trade in Singapore itself, if you bought back then, you might feel like, oh, it is like a high or whatever. But so let's backdate ourselves. So around 2 months ago, which is, so it's over here around 2 months ago is around March. So March period itself, Bitcoin was trading at 84,000. And of course, if you look at it, the price itself was a dump from the top of like 104,000 all-time high. Eventually went down here, 84,000. Some of you guys might be scared, oh my god, it's a dropping knife or whatever, catching a falling knife. But honestly, you have to find an entry. And of course, regardless of it, you have to come up with a financial plan to basically invest in crypto, like invest in whatever stock itself. You can see that the market, the chart is always that high, and eventually it will come down. Everything goes up, will come down eventually and cool off, and after that bounce around. This is how the market works. So do not be afraid of like whatever price point it is. Just set an investment plan for yourself. Maybe you want to do dollar cost averaging, buying like $100 every month, every week, or every single day, $10 every single day, using whatever exchange that supports it. So here you can use the link down below to support the channel. So over here you can see that back then when I talk about it, one Bitcoin was 104,000, and I made the video, it was around 80,000. Back then, if let's say those who are looking to really step into it and saw my video, they bought it, congratulations, they've made money. And of course, if let's say as of now, we can see that the price is already moving upwards. If let's say you bought it here, yes, you might be at the all-time high, but of course the price might just dump down. Over here we can look at this scenario. If let's say you bought it back then at the highest point itself, 63,000 during Tesla boom whatsoever, during this time if you bought it, you might be thinking like, oh fuck, the price has fallen down so much, and you panic, you lost half of your money. Then eventually next few months itself, Bitcoin went up back to the all-time high of 66,000, and you're like, fuck, why did I sell? So honestly, I would say that every investment out there is the same. Do not time the market, because when you time the market, you do not have a magic crystal ball or I don't know, some baba yaga out there to tell you like, oh, this is gonna like go up or down. Eventually, you never know when's the top, you never know when's the bottom. So what's the best strategy is to buy in every single month, dollar cost averaging, to basically make your average price. So let's say you bought in over here at 60 over 1,000, so it's fine, don't sell. I mean, like, if let's say you're gonna do an investment, do it like, if let's say you have a $10,000 to play with, don't lump sum at $10,000 in. Instead, just do a dollar cost average of every month. So you bought in at 60,000, and when it dips down itself to 30 over 1,000, you can buy using another 2,000. Eventually, when it goes up, you feel like, oh, it's the time of the month to buy again. Just buy in, and eventually your price of the average entry itself will not be 60 over 1,000. Instead, it will be around like 50 or 40,000. If let's say you bought from the lows itself, and eventually you held it on all the way now today, you have doubled your money. So this is how investment works. This is not about Bitcoin, but of course this is about all of the investment out there. So I have a quote of the day for you guys before I end the video. So the quote of the day is simple: doesn't mean you work hard, you will make it. This is simple, because some people work hard every day, they grind their 9 to 5, or they after 9 to 5 they grind for 5 to 8 to basically do like a day job or whatsoever, night job. Even though this grinding, yes, it's gonna help you in some way, and of course you're gonna achieve some sort of sense and everything, but of course I would say that you have to grind smart, not only hard. You have to know it, you have to do it smartly. And of course from there you can see that this is additional sharing. So back then, when I made a video about talking my trade on how to buy Bitcoin, so I really finally made a decision that I should take my children's money, and of course some of the money that I've gotten from my house, like what's that, house opening event, from my friends, basically gather the funds, not say gather their funds, but of course the funds that they give it to me, I basically dump it into Bitcoin. So back then it was like, I will show you my entry price. So yeah, bought at 83, 81, 80, 76. Eventually bought it at 100 over 1,000. And after that, from there, I would say that as of today, if you look at it, the average price of 88,000, and of course a profit of 1,000. So this is only a span of 3 months. So within 3 months, I already made like 20 over 5,000, 25%. And of course, it is all unrealized gain. And of course, this amount, I'm not gonna touch it, because this is gonna be a future long-term kind of planning. Basically, this kind of money is gonna be like somehow for their school educational funds in Singapore, whatsoever, tuition fee, piano fee, or whatever in the future, if let's say it's needed. And of course, I don't only have this for my children. Of course, there's some endowment plan out there for such more to stabilize itself, so that I do not lose all the money in crypto itself. It is fine. So I would say that whatever money I put into crypto, I always have this mentality to tell myself that whatever I put in is as good as zero. So this is a mentality you need to have in order to overcome those high risk investment out there, or even say it's a low risk S&P itself. It can go to zero if one day the US economy collapse. It is gonna happen. I mean, it might happen. It's not gonna happen. Sorry, my mistake of saying the wrong word itself, wrong choice of word. Therefore, say it is end of the video. If you like the video, kindly leave a thumbs up, subscribe to my channel, and turn on post notification. And I'm gonna see you on the next one. Bye bye. Peace.